Bellator 276. These are the full card predictions and the betting breakdown. Main event, Borics versus Burnell. We got a pretty decent card. I'm going to go through each fight on it. Make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, turn those post notifications on, and share the video as well. And let's jump right into the first fight of the night. This here is, I guess, developing prospect fight on one side. That's Josh Augustine. He takes on Josh Weston, who's 8-11 as a pro. This is kind of like a give me fight for Augustine. It seems like we got a real opponent on the Weston side. Similar trend on the Bellator prelims. Their early prelims tend to be kind of mismatches that really favor one guy. As far as this fight, I'm picking the Augustine side. I think that's kind of self-explanatory. I'm going with the guy that has some winning record here versus the 8-11 Weston. But, you know, if you look at Josh Weston, he's not a terrible fighter. He's got a bad record, of course, but he's 40. Last fight, loses submission to a 3-5 guy. He is coming from a wrestling base, but even in his last bout, taken down, submitted. His boxing seems a bit awkward, hands a little low, tends to be like a little bit tense. I would describe it as. He does, I guess, supposedly ride a bike everywhere he goes. So they say he had good stamina. I heard that on one of the commentary tables of one of the fights I was watching of him. Not super impressed. He takes on Josh Augustine, who's a smooth kickboxer, definitely a developing guy. He's a tall, rangy striker, 6'1" to 5'8", so big advantage there for Josh Augustine. Mixes up his stances fairly well. That's something that I always like to see. A little bit raw talent too. Okay, straight punches, likes to press in, and then he does like to wrestle himself. Decent ground and pound from the top position. I think that Josh Augustine wins this fight. Both of them actually recently fought a month ago, the loss for Josh Weston, and then just 3 weeks ago, the win for Josh Augustine. Both of those fights over at Shamrock FC. I think Augustine dominantly wins this fight. I'm going TKO round one. I don't think there's too much competition here for with him with Weston. I will say this. There is definitely a chance a submission could also come through. Now, looking towards the odds here, let's see if we have them available anywhere because it doesn't seem like they're up just yet. We have a lot of the fights odds. It seems like these ones maybe are here. Let's see. Bellator 276. Josh Augustine, we do have it. Yes. Minus 350 favorite to Josh Weston, the plus 275 dog. You got to go Augustine. No bet. Not touching these early prelims, but losing record versus prospect. I go prospect all day, and he should have the goods to get it done. Next fight of the night, Jordan Howard versus Trevor Ward. This is another really weird one. Both guys haven't fought in a long time. 3 years and 10 months for Howard. 3 years and 5 months for Ward. I'm picking the Howard side. I do think he should win this fight, but let's note something. Trevor Ward has fought at 125, and he's 6 feet 1 inches tall. That is insanity. I'll be honest, off his back, I've seen decent jiu-jitsu. I feel like that's going to be his bread and butter here. I mean, at 6'1", 125 pounds in the cage, you're probably not packing too much of a punch. I could see Howard landing big overhand strikes. He's a pretty decent kickboxer with solid pressure. Bad record, 5-5 versus a guy, you know, with at least 10 wins, 5 losses, but 2-fight losing streak in Bellator. I'm going the side of Jordan Howard, but neither guy has fought in forever. It's not really a fight that's Bellator level at all. I could see this at some no-name show, you know, in the lower regional level of MMA, but we get it on Bellator. I'm going Jordan Howard. You know what? I'm going to pick him by knockout, but I definitely could see him somehow winning a decision to not a high-level fight here. Looking at the lines, Jordan Howard minus 400, Trevor Ward plus 300. Will not be touching these early prelim lines. I say it each and every week with Bellator's early prelims. Very cautious. I recommend not betting it. It's low-level MMA. But I'm going Jordan Howard. He should definitely win this bout. Let's keep running up. Next fight of the night. Okay, this is where the shift happens because Roman Faraldo, I'm telling you, this guy is someone to keep an eye on. He takes on Kelvin Rayford. I think Faraldo is going to flatline Rayford. Rayford's a decent athlete, rangy guy. I mean, he's 6'3" at welterweight. That's pretty tall, but not like Faraldo's a small welterweight. 6'1", serious knockout power and precision. Has that Masvidal flair. I'm telling you guys, he gives a little Masvidal vibe when you watch him fight, especially with that big flying knee knockout in the previous one. Got heavy hooks closing distance, pretty damn fast. He's a kid that I'm keeping my eye on. As far as his opponent, Kelvin, I don't think he's going to have much for him. Besides being, the taller fighter, I feel like as they get in close, Faraldo's just going to crack him one time, and you're going to see Kelvin Rayford crumble. It looks a little bit raw. He's 36 years old. I think that's too late to be a raw talent like that. Does fight out of both stances. I don't think he's a bad fighter, but I don't think that he's Roman Faraldo level at all. I think Faraldo win, knockout, and I'm going first round. I don't think it's close at all here. Let's see. The odds for this one, -800 Faraldo. Kelvin Rayford plus 500. Faraldo all day. Maybe there's going to be some value on the knockout prop if it drops, but some of these early Bellator prelims, they don't drop them. We'll talk about that on this week's Best MMA Bets, so make sure you guys tune into that. Faraldo for the win by knockout in the first round. It should not be close. James Adcock versus Cody Law. Cody Law is a prospect they're building here. He's going to destroy James Adcock. You look at recent fights for Adcock. He's an 0-7 fighter, 0-4 fighter, 0-1 fighter. He loses to a 2-0 fighter, and then 1-1 fighter in his most recent win. Cody Law is a decent martial artist. I really feel like he's a prospect to keep your eye on. He's 26. I think decent is actually an understatement. He's a developing contender here in this Bellator featherweight division. Excellent wrestling background and really good hands as well. He's so confident striking because he has no fear of being taken down. A lot of guys will not get this guy to the floor even if they've wrestled for long periods of time. This guy is a real tricky prospect. Cody Law, I think on the feet is going to open the hands up beautifully. He's going to put a lot of pressure on Adcock. Adcock's best bet to win this fight, because he's an awkward southpaw, his best chance would actually be somehow locking up a submission as Law's looking for a takedown, somehow grabbing a guillotine, fluky type thing. I don't see it happening. I think Law has too much skill for that at this point. I think Cody Law murders James Adcock. First round TKO, ground and pound. Wouldn't be shocked if he submitted him either. Wouldn't be shocked if he slept him on the feet. It's all Cody Law, and it is not close whatsoever. Looking at the odds, -1500 for Law, plus 750 Adcock. Bellator is really grooming Law as their future contender, and I think they're doing a great job. He's going to get the win here, destroying James Adcock in a total mismatch. Next fight of the night, Diana Avsaragova versus Ashley Deen. This fight here is very interesting because Avsaragova looked like shit in the last fight against a girl that really wasn't good. The girl's name was Gabriella Golfin. She was a real developing girl, 2-2 record. Ashley Deen can bang. She has pretty decent stand-up. Recent loss to Jasmine Jasudavicius, who's now in the UFC. I feel like the pro striking background of Deen is a positive factor in this fight. Avsaragova, from what I've seen, I mean, yeah, she has pretty scrappy striking style. Will mix it up with the hands. Definitely likes her flurries and close, and does have a decent jab. Pretty fast with her kicks and moves really well. I was super underwhelmed by her in the last fight, and I said, okay, let's pump the brakes on this prospect. They give her Ashley Deen, who, yes, has a 5-6 losing record, but I gotta pick the Deen side. I'm going underdog here. It could definitely go and bite me in the ass, but these early Bellator prelims, and especially this fight, an unproven Diana Avsaragova versus Ashley Deen. Give me Ashley Deen all day. I'm going for her. I'm thinking win decision, split potentially. If Avsaragova does the right thing, maybe fights to her fullest capability, somehow mixes in some takedowns, I could see her getting Deen to the floor. But from what I've seen so far from Avsaragova, not impressed. I'm going Deen for the win. As far as the odds here, Deen is plus 400. I'm not saying to play it. It would be a real Hail Mary. Don't throw a lot of money at this fight. It's an early Bellator prelim, and it's women's MMA that's developing level. But Ashley Deen can scrap. She's being slept on by the bookies 100%, and I'm going to go her for the win by upset. 5'5", 66-inch reach. I like that the reach is the same. The last fight, Avsaragova had a big reach advantage and was still getting touched up and pressed by a lesser girl. Deen is superior. She gets it done. Upset in this fight. Next fight of the night, Romero Cotton versus Freddy Sandoval. This might be the weirdest fight on the card. Cotton is a guy they're trying to build wrestling background. Sandoval has not fought 12 years and 5 months. That is insanity. And he's stepping into Bellator here. Recently had a pro boxing match he was knocked out in. He beat Drew Fickett 12.5 years ago. I think that's something to note. Good win to have, but that's 12 years ago. Romero Cotton is going to get the win here. It's going to be very hard for Sandoval to come back and win. Obviously, there's not a ton I could find on him as far as his fights. They're hidden and lost. I mean, if you find some, post some links in the comments, but not many I found. I literally looked through his Instagram and kind of got an understanding of his style, and I don't think he has the goods for Romero Cotton. I think Cotton is going to get inside, body him, take him to the floor, and beat the brakes off of him. I could see a first-round submission or knockout for Cotton, leaning the TKO side. His physical strength is off the charts. That's something you really hear hyped up about him. He's got a good wrestling base, and he's going to get to win in a bit of a give-me fight here against a guy that doesn't fight consistently. Minus 1,200 for Cotton, plus 650 for Sandoval. Yeah, it's not competitive. Not competitive at all. Cotton for the win. Next fight of the night, Derek Anderson versus Goiti Yamauchi. I like Goiti a lot. I like him in this fight. I'm a fan of Goiti. I've been following him a long time. I like his style. Derek Anderson's a pretty decent kickboxer, but I see susceptibilities to takedowns being a big problem. And when you get taken down by a guy like Goiti, you're in a lot of trouble because his submission game is A1. He's very good at attacking the subs. On top, not necessarily a ground and pound specialist, but will pepper you to work towards submissions and striking. Karate-esque style for Goiti, which I actually think could pose a threat to Derek Anderson, who's known as a pretty decent kickboxer, very good high kicks. His kicking game is very good from the long range. A little bit susceptible, though, in the grappling, especially his hands low, too. I could see Goiti landing a straight shot right down the center line and hurting Anderson. He's coming off that really bad loss to Michael Venom Page. I think Goiti Yamauchi puts on a pretty good performance here. Submission or decision in this fight, I see Goiti being the one who gets the win. As far as the odds, very close. Pick'em's fight, minus 110 Anderson, Goiti minus 120. Give me Goiti, especially at that close money right there. Might be something to look at lightly playing here for this Bellator fight. Goiti Yamauchi to get the win over Derek Anderson. Potentially submission too. We'll see what that submission prop is when it opens up. Alex Polizzi versus Jose Augusto Azevedo. Jose Augusto's last fight, he gave Rumble Johnson hell and nearly knocked him out. But he was getting destroyed in that fight besides landing that massive check left hook. Alex Polizzi is a guy that I have picked to win pretty much every fight I've ever called for him. Every one that I've ever broken down, I've picked Polizzi because I see the ability that he has, and he's always slept on by the bookies. I'm picking him to win here over Jose Augusto as well, but I will note this. Right now, Alex Polizzi is the favorite, minus 150. Augusto, the plus 120 dog, and that is because Polizzi has very good wrestling. He presses inside with his stand-up, with that high guard style, more looking to explode, press and range with the hooks, and look for takedowns. Augusto had a great performance, and, you know, on the feet, Augusto is superior to Alex Polizzi by a fair margin. He's a rangy guy, but he doesn't have the longest arms for being 6'3". I think that Polizzi finds a way inside. I think he takes him to the floor, and I see him grinding out a unanimous decision. Augusto throwing up submission attempts from the bottom. I don't see him tapping Alex Polizzi here. I think on the feet he has an edge, but I don't see him knocking Polizzi out. I'm going Alex Polizzi win, unanimous decision, and I think at close money, minus 150, might be a good play. I wish he was the underdog. I'll be honest. When I went through it and I watched footage on this fight, I didn't look at the odds first. I waited, and I was thinking, oh, they're going to have Polizzi at a good plus money. They didn't. They know Polizzi stylistically is a bad matchup for Augusto. I'm going Alex Polizzi, win, decision, should get it done. I'm always proud to pick him. I'm a fan of Polizzi. I like his style, and I expect him to win here against Jose Augusto. Let's keep running up the card. We have arrived at the main card. If you guys have not yet, smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe and turn those post notifications on. It's J.J. Wilson, the Maori kid, versus Gadzhi Rabadanov. Real prospect on both sides. I mean, both have a lot of potential in MMA. 24, J.J. Wilson. Listen, a lot of the times, you guys know, I jump on the Dagestanis. I'm a big believer in a lot of these guys, but I'll tell you in this fight here, I'm going J.J. Wilson. I think his style is going to be different. I think it's going to be too much even for Gadzhi, and I feel like the reason being is that he can kind of do it all, right? On the ground, he brings a serious threat with his submissions, has a good wrestling base, is a guy that can wrestle himself, striking, explosive, creative, even a unique flair, I would say, with J.J. Wilson. On the opposite side, Gadzhi is a pretty damn good striker too. Like, I mean, he has that upright kickboxing style you see with some of those Dagestani strikers. Really good speed, excellent with his kicks, and has some pretty decent boxing too, and controls range well. Wrestling in his back pocket. But in this fight, I don't think he has an easy time taking JJ Wilson to the floor. If he does take him down, it's not like Wilson's just going to lay there and let you beat him up. He's going to be looking to get up or throw up submissions from the bottom. On the feet, I think Wilson has more knockout power. I think he could land clean strikes. I expect a competitive fight nonetheless, though. And I think JJ Wilson wins a decision over Gadzhi Rabadanov. Win for Wilson, the Maori kid. These fighters that train with Khabib can be beaten. We've seen it. We saw Ulanbekov last week lose to Tim Elliott. I think JJ Wilson can beat Gadzhi Rabadanov, and I'm going decision here. As far as the odds, very close. Slight plus money, plus 100 for Wilson. Rabadanov, minus 120. I think that's for good reason. The bookies know how good JJ Wilson is, and he really is a prospect to keep your eye on. 8-0. Gadzhi has been beaten in the past, 16-4 record. I see Wilson being the guy that beats him here in Bellator, but still really bright future on the Gadzhi side. And as with JJ Wilson, whoever wins this fight is going to get a huge step and push in the right direction, but I don't think it's a career break for either. It's true prospect and future contender battle, and I think JJ Wilson is the one that gets it done here. Exciting decision. Next fight of the night is our featured bout. Johnny Eblen, Diamond Hands versus John Salter. John Salter got beat down badly against Gegard Mousasi. Johnny Eblen, 10-0. Seems like that prospect to watch comes from a good wrestling base. I'm picking Eblen to win. He can wrestle with John Salter. I do believe it's competitive in the wrestling department, but in the stand-up, I think Salter has almost nothing for Johnny Eblen. He is a southpaw who's decent with his low kicks, but I really don't see bringing a substantial boxing threat to Eblen at all. Johnny Eblen, Diamond Hands, deserving nickname because he's developed really good kickboxing skills, enters range extremely quickly, really fast hooks, trains over at American Top Team, obviously has a little Masvidal influence on the striking. I like the speed. I like the power. I think he can find the John Salter chin. If Eblen is forced to go against the cage and Salter looks for takedowns, I expect Eblen to be able to defend. I wouldn't be shocked if he even lands a takedown of his own, but on the feet, the level difference is clear. I'm going to go Johnny Eblen knockout. Could see this end up being a competitive fight? Yes, for sure. And it could end up going distance? Definitely. But the Eblen side gets it done, and I do think he is a future contender and maybe title challenger here late in 2022, maybe early 2023. I like Johnny Eblen. He's a big favorite, minus 275, Salter plus 215. I do think the odds could be a bit closer here, but Salter coming off that bad loss, 36 years of age, versus a guy that just seems to be getting better and better and better each time we see him. I mean, he beat the brakes off Colin Huckbody, who was signed to the UFC, never fought there, but was signed there, was a legit prospect. Johnny Eblen for the win. I think he's going to knock Salter out, and I think he's going to look impressive. The striking is something that I'm really keeping an eye on, and he already has the wrestling base down to a T. He's beaten John Salter. Let's keep running up the card. Co-main event. Phil Davis versus Julius Anglickas. Love this matchmaking. Anglickas coming off a loss to Nemkov. Davis, recent loss to Nemkov, did beat up Yoel Romero in the last one. And I think Phil Davis wins this fight as well. 3-round fight. I think Davis is going to be looking to wrestle. He has the superior takedown game, certainly. Anglickas in the fight against Nemkov had that one big moment, was able to drop Nemkov. But as soon as it got to the floor, Nemkov beat the brakes off of him. And Phil Davis, technically speaking, is a superior wrestler to Nemkov, at least on paper. Granted, when they fought, both times it's went to Nemkov. And even if they fought a third time, it would probably go the Nemkov way. But Phil Davis is a top contender as far as light heavyweights go in Bellator and really around the world. He's a top level. And Julius Anglickas is good. I mean, I'm a fan of Julius Anglickas. He's pretty well-rounded, a guy that puts consistent pressure on his opponents, known for winning decisions more so. Better wrestlers are going to be a big problem for him. I think Phil Davis also has a real clear speed edge striking. Davis is a defense-first striker, which I think is even more advantageous for Davis. I think he wins a grinding decision, maybe a slower pace on the feet, chops the kicks a bit, lands a bit of punches, and then chains the takedowns, gets Anglickas down, beats him on points. I'm going unanimous decision for Phil Davis. As far as the odds here, big favorite Davis, minus 300. Anglickas, the plus 240 underdog. I like Phil Davis for the win. I think he beats Anglickas. Anglickas is still a good prospect, even with a loss after this one. But styles make fights, and I think Phil Davis's wrestling, real problem for Julius Anglickas in this fight. And the way he's defensively sound on the feet, I just don't see Anglickas landing big strikes down the middle, at least with not much success, not landing cleanly. And I think Phil Davis puts on a swell performance, win, unanimous decision for him. And he keeps moving up in this Bellator light heavyweight division. He might end up getting a third fight with Nemkov if Nemkov beats Anderson, or who knows? If Anderson wins, Davis is right in the mix to fight him. Main event of the evening. If you guys haven't yet, make sure to smash that like button. If you're new, subscribe. It's Ádám Borics versus Mads Burnell. Fantastic matchup and a bit of a clash of styles. Borics is an excellent striker. Mads Burnell, an excellent grappler. I am going to go the Burnell way. 5-round fight. Bellator main events are all 5 rounds now, so we have to note that. Burnell's striking style is very high guard based. He'll mix hooks up in close range, but he's doing that to get you opening up with your own strikes, and then he'll chain the takedowns. When he gets on top, hard guy to shake off. Ádám Borics looks awesome on the feet, and he's getting better and better. He's training hard for sure, because I've seen improvements from when he first came to Bellator. Lost to AJ McKee, has turned it up with a 3-fight win streak, really smooth striking. Nice calf kicks, moves extraordinarily well, has fast straight punches, closes distance with hooks well. I mean, honestly, his modified Thai style works super well for MMA. The question is, will he go this fight not being taken down? And when he gets taken down, how easy does he find his way up? From what I've seen of Mads Burnell, I don't think it's going to be easy for Borics to get up. I think he's going to get taken down. I think Burnell will grind on him. I think Borics might eventually find ways up to his feet, and he might steal a round or two here, but I'm really leaning Mads Burnell to grind out Ádám Borics. Potential late finish for Burnell, but also thinking decision. If it is a finish, it's Burnell win by submission. Ádám Borics on the feet will be a problem for Mads Burnell. I'll tell you this, I don't think Burnell will be mixing it up, striking too much with Ádám Borics here. Looking at the odds, -185 Burnell, best value, +175 Borics. As far as the betting side, I don't love it. I think the odds are a little bit wide. I think Borics deserves a little more respect on the lines because he's going to be live striking, but not necessarily a huge finisher. You look at wrestlers in the past have given him a little bit of difficulty. Let's note this. Mike Hamill, not necessarily a top-rated guy in Bellator, gave Borics hell and lost a split decision. I think Mads Burnell puts it on Borics over the 5 rounds. It could be a decision, or I could see him getting a submission maybe around the 4th, potentially rear naked choke. When Burnell gets on top, his top pressure is incredible. He's a guy that beats up grapplers. I mean, he beat Saul Rogers, who's an excellent grappler in his own right, using the takedowns, using the control from the top. I think same type of thing with Borics here. If it's a 3-round fight, it's definitely decision. If it's 5 rounds, maybe there's a submission, but I won't be surprised if it goes the full 5. But it's the Mads Burnell side getting his hand raised, and he is a -185 favorite. Overall, this Bellator card is decent. The prelims early are not ones that I'd really recommend betting because the lines are ugly for the strong confidence picks. And then the lesser known guys like Jordan Howard, Josh Augustine, there's just not enough to really want to throw money at and take that risk there. But when you get up to the bigger fights, you know, towards the end of the prelims, featured prelims, very good. The main card is solid with high-level talent. I think this is a pretty fun Bellator card, and I look forward to watching it. I hope you guys enjoyed this Bellator full card breakdown. Make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, turn those post notifications on, and share the video as well. Keep it locked in right here at MMA Experts. I got content dropping all week long, so you don't want to miss a video. Much love, my people, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace, guys.